This is my go-to pattern for the Caenis. I've done an article for Clive on the website, and this is a size 20 partridge hook and Danville's cream thread. I just start the thread behind the eye, somewhere here, not far behind the eye, wind backwards, halfway down the hook and halfway back, and stop. Take away the surplus thread, and piece of antron for the post or pole, and tie it in over the eye. Goes about reasonably long, 3 or 4 times the length of the hook. Give yourself working room, and 2 pinching loops in there, couple behind to hold, and cut that off in a taper. And then incorporate it under the thread in a sort of carrot fashion. Come back up to the front there of the pole, of the post, and come in with several turns in front, several being maybe a dozen or so. What you intend to do is make it stand, like so. Then pull that round, turn to poling to stabilise it for the hackle. And if you go around this here, I should have shortened the thread probably before I started, but I didn't. And go around that several times up the hook and several times back down. And what we're trying to do is give this a stable anchor for your hackle. So I'm going up this a couple of times and doing it then to a point now where this should be okay. Gives it that hinging point there and somewhere to hang the hackle. Right, next thing's the tail, which I use Badger hackle for. Three. Caenis has 3 tails, like half of the flies, wing flies have 3 tails, and half of them have only 2. Suppose Betis has 2 and stuff like that, and suppose Actinurus and stuff like that have 2. These have 3. Blue-winged olives have 3. Mayfly have 3. Well, or mayflies, ephemera tonica, is 3. So I like the tails to be long, and I tie them in reasonably long. You don't have to do that if you think you like them shorter. So I'm going to tie that down now to just about the bend, and hopefully they'll splay a bit. I don't know whether they'll splay it or not, but they probably have. It's hard to say. They have splayed enough for me. So I'm forming the body with the cream thread right up to where I tied the pole in, or the post. And then just at that point there, wee bit of black permanent marker. If you're old, put on about 1 inch, and if you're young, put on about 25 inches or about 25 millimeters of black permanent marker. Then wind a thorax with that. A few turns behind the pole, there's 2, 3, and a few in front to create a black looking thorax that can be viewed from underneath as like a Caenis. It looks like a Caenis from underneath. Next thing we need is a hackle. And I use a white hackle or a cream hackle. And this one's from a small section I got from Chevron. You get at Chevron at some of the shows, and you get enough hackles to do small flies here for about £6 or something. I think I paid for it, and you can do hundreds of flies, about 100 flies out or more. So how I prepare the hackle is strip the front of the feather and clip away just a small section here. Just leave a very small section here. That's if I can see it to cut it. That's it. And I put it in now. I turn the concave side up. Put the stem against the thread and slide it up behind the eye. Then take 1 turn there and pull it right round behind the post and round the front. Then bring the thread the opposite way round, right round the back of the post and onto the front below, and a turn over the eye. And what that does, it stabilises the hackle so that I can wind it. And then what I do from there is I wind several turns, maybe 5, 6, round every one going below the previous one. Otherwise I'm winding down the way. And when I get about 5 or 6 on, then next thing I do is pull everything, hold the hackle down below, pointing towards the bobbin, pull the front of everything upwards, and then push that in, hold it with my thumb, and tie off with 1 or 2 or 3 turns of thread. And I just come in, catch the scissors with one of my fingers here, and come in front of the eye and clear everything off. Then come in again with a couple of turns and then whip finish with 1, 2, 3 turns. That loop, while it's still there, what I can do is put a wee drop of varnish in that with my dubbing needle. And I haven't actually put any on, I'm only showing you where you put it. And then slide that in and that'll varnish the head for you. Just check that you haven't blocked the eye and put a feather in it or a needle, a pin in it just through the eye at that stage to make sure you haven't blocked the eye. Next thing now is to get the hackles sitting the way you want them. So you can pull the pole, this is where we left it long, stroke it and move it your finger around and twist the pole round as you go, and hope we want the hackle to sit in a full 360 round the pole, if that's the right way to put it. Because what you're looking now for the fish to see underneath the fly has to look like a Caenis, and if you do it right, it'll act both as it's done on the spinner. At that point now, while still holding it, I can still put my wee drop of varnish on the very top of the pole here. We drop in front, here, we drop in front, just with hackle touches, and we drop behind with hackle touches. That stabilises it and keeps the hackle from rigging up the pole. Maybe gets you a few extra fish out of the same fly before you have to change it. The last thing is just cut that, and I usually cut it, put it over like behind here or where you can see it somewhere, if I can get this into the right position, and just cut it the same length as the hackle here, like so. And that's more or less, that's the fly more or less complete. And this fly has done me for years at Caenis time. And all you need to do is accurate casting. And that's it. Simple as that. Thank you for watching.